Now that we're at a good stopping point with the high tunnel, we need to work on our fence. So far, I've done 200 feet of fencing. We started on the side of the barn because this side is where I get a lot of stray dogs coming in. Well, they're probably not strays, they're most likely my neighbors. We still have, I'm thinking, around 1,500 feet of fencing to do still. Gates. Gates is a big one also. I haven't purchased any gates yet. I'm gonna try to reuse what I have first, but I'm gonna most likely gonna have to buy some gates. This was way overgrown. You know, if you've seen some of our early videos when we first moved, all this was over. You didn't even know that this side of the barn existed. We had to buy some more material, posts. Fencing. Yeah, that's good. It's always been a little tricky unloading a big, heavy. You got to use gravity on your side. This is the only 6x6 on the property. And it's also the worst post on the property. We need to fix that, put in a whole new post. I initially wanted to start on this side and do these two gates, but it always looked like a cluster. Something that I had to think about for a minute because I couldn't visualize how it's gonna be. This one's pretty slanted also. I need that to be up a little bit more. So I might end up just cutting that and then drilling another one right next to it, because if I don't do things like that now, I'm probably never going to do it. And that crooked post is always going to bother me. And this part right here, these two gates, is something that we look at every single day, and then we go in and out of every single day, so it needs to look nice. Fencing is very labor intensive. And another thing, you really have to make up your mind where you want the fence, because it's very permanent. And I think that right there is the hardest part of putting up a fence, is figuring out where to put it. That was probably old granddad's 6x6. Every single one of these poles so far have been concreted except for this one. I guess I should probably cut that. There we go. Now it's straight. It's hard to figure out what they were thinking. I mean, there's probably logical reason for this, maybe. You have this pole, and then these poles go in and then straight. Why not just go from this pole all the way down? I could see where they wanted to avoid this tree and kind of go around it, but then they come back in. It would look a lot nicer if they just kept going straight, because I'm just going straight in line with our shed. I'm almost thinking now of moving this pole in a little bit, and then in the long run that'll be easier for me to run the fencing, and it'll look nicer. I think the ground gets really soft right there, because that's where all the water comes down when it rains. gonna throw in a couple rocks where we want it. There's a lot of water in there from all the rain we got. I moved the pole from here to over here. It's gonna give us maybe some more wider gate. Also raising it up a little bit on the hill, maybe that will help with not sitting in water. In the winter, we don't get snow, we get mud. Since this is a post where a gate is gonna hang off of, I'm just gonna use a whole bag of concrete. Typically, I'll usually use half a bag per pole. Now I'm not just going to use woven wire. Eventually I'm going to add a hot wire on the top. So, you know, it's a work in progress. I'm just going to keep chipping away at it. And hopefully I'll get done before spring. Or actually, I just hope to be done by this year. It's going to be much. Got to figure out what to do with this spot. I just want the fence to come up to here. I'm gonna have a ton of this wire when it's all said and done, which I'm incredibly thankful for, because any little bit helps. Then you just tie it with a zip tie, because it can get pretty squirrely. This is definitely the time to do fencing. It's cold. Can't imagine doing this in the summer. Add some rocks. I might end up moving this pole or put in a new pole. It's gonna be hard to dig this out without a tractor, but if I can move it over, it'll be even with that pole I just put in and make the fence straighter. Working a little bit every single day, chipping away, even if it's for an hour, just doing something, and eventually it all adds up and we all get to where we want to be. And right about now is where I want to be done with this fence. This is going to be H-brace. The next step, the next phase of this fencing is going to be a wood fence, but we're still going to use the fencing that we've always been using, the woven wire. We'll probably just get it to a point where it's just the fencing and we're not going to put the wood just yet. We could do that at a later time, but at least I want to get it to that point where we have the fencing and all you have to do is put the wood, so I kind of have to think ahead on how that's going to look. This part of the fencing is where we kind of always hang out, or we're always using, so I really didn't want to charge the entire thing. That's why I'm doing it the way I am. And then also the wood, it's really just for aesthetic. I think it looks nice. We are going to add a gate on this side, and then we'll just work our way up on this side. Pretty much a straight shot all the way up. We're gonna get into the teens at night this coming week. And then probably be the coldest. We're gonna hit our coldest month this month usually. So far, the best tools, and I do not regret buying, is this auger, one-man auger, and my gas-powered post pounder. If I was not doing the wood fence, I would just put T-posts, but I think just over time the wood fence is just gonna look so much nicer than T-posts. Time to move the chickens. We're moving them over by our high tunnel. Probably gonna need a hammer. Since I probably won't get to this high tunnel of the plastic, I'm thinking maybe another month. And so while we're stopping at a stopping point, we're gonna move the chickens in, and they're gonna help us fertilize inside the high tunnel. All right, the Amish coop. I have plans of this coop on our website, guys, with merchandise and other things that we sell. I've had this going on 2 years now. With all the rain we've had, these things filled up. Bernice! Chicken Town. We have a coop here, we have a coop here, and we just combined all the chickens. We had 14 in one group, and then we had 7 in another. Older chickens, as in probably 4 years old, and then 2-year-old chickens. Is everyone getting along? Bernice? Bernice, Bernice, Bernice. Freddie. Now they're gonna fertilize inside the high tunnel, and might as well, because we're not doing anything with it right now, and might as well put the chickens to work, let them do their thing, and then we'll move them out eventually, and then finish off the high tunnel.